Hey everyone, Chris Brewer here with Meinl Radio. Being the rookie that I am, I've never done the podcasty thing, and on the front end of the podcast, asked you guys to leave a review and a rating for the Meinl Radio podcast. I think I've done it on the backside, but never the front side, like right away when I've got you. So now that I've got you, I'm asking for that sort of thing, and it would be most appreciated. Okay, now that I've got the uncomfortable solicitation out of the way, let's get to the real deal. Today's guest is Meinl cymbals artist Siros Vaziri. Siros has been making a name for himself in the international drumming community through his work as a drum teacher, content creator, and clinician. I first stumbled upon Siros in the Explore section of Instagram, where I watched his Fill of the Day videos. Right away, I liked what Siros had to share and the manner in which it was delivered. Not too long ago, Siros began offering for only $5 a month his daily drum Bytes. According to his website, sirosvaziri.com, these are a mix of beginner, intermediate, and advanced lessons on grooves, fills, licks, chops, exercises, and more, uploaded daily on the members page. His website describes daily drum Bytes as being like a buffet. Pick your favorite lessons to learn and skip the ones that are too easy, too hard, or just not your style. Each lesson serves as a bite-sized piece of inspiration to keep you from ever feeling lost or bored behind the kit again. What really strikes me about Siros is how he manages his life, not just his career, but also his entire life. Actually, it seems to me that his daily drum Bytes are indicative of the rest of his life and his constant movement towards getting better at everything he can get better at. Whether it's what he eats, how he exercises, or his approach to drumming, Siros is always making micro adjustments and bettering himself in every way. His DIY ethic that's enabled him to quickly make drumming his means to putting food on the table and a roof over his head is inspirational. I met up with Siros while we were both in Manchester, England for the UK drum show. We sat down in my hotel room to chat, and I walked away from our conversation with an even greater respect for Siros and his upward trajectory at everything he does. I hope you enjoy the podcast. So I'd like to welcome everybody into the Meinl podcast. We are here in lovely Manchester, England. I have Siros Vaziri with me. We are here for the Manchester, actually it's called the UK Drum Show.
UK Drum Show.
Yeah, the UK Drum Show. We're in my hotel room.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I was kind of surprised that you were going to be here. I didn't know that. I looked at the lineup, and then Norbert said that you were on your way to hang out, and yeah. So how come you're here? Just to enjoy it?
Yeah, just to enjoy it. I decided. Actually, funny enough, I kind of decided after seeing the event on Facebook, because I kind of peripherally knew that this event was going down this weekend. But I think Norbert invited me to like the Facebook event, and I was like, yeah. I might go actually,
Nice.
So I think it actually started with that. So you can thank Norbert for it, or I'll thank Norbert for it. But yes, I just figured I actually had 2 gigs this weekend, but not super important gigs that could kind of hand them over. So I was like, yeah, let's go a little week trip to the UK. It's been a while. Hang out with some friends. I'm staying with this friend in Barnsley the days before and after, and just enjoy the show because I haven't been before.
Dude, it's a pretty cool show.
Yeah, it's a great lineup.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Even beyond all the great Meinl artists, there's.
Oh yeah. And what's you have a direct flight here?
Yeah, dude. Ryanair saved my ass because so get this, my flight Wednesday home is a direct flight, all straight to Gothenburg, 2-hour flight. It cost me, if we're doing US dollars, like $15. 15.
How does the airline operate?
Because it's Ryanair. They kind of get all their income from all the extra options you can, because I'm flying the very, very bare minimum. Me and my backpack. But then, the entire check-in process, like when you use their app or anything, they're trying to like throw stuff at you all the time. Like, hey, reserve a seat for $5 extra, do this for so-and-so. It's like, I think they probably go around on that kind of stuff because the tickets themselves are dirt cheap.
Wow, that's super cool. I wish the U.S. had that. I mean, we've got Southwest, but...
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I'm super glad we're getting to do this because you and I have had the chance to hang out a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I know a lot about you, but there might be some visitors, some listeners who don't know anything about you, and don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We definitely want to introduce even more people to you. So.
Yeah.
I guess, what I usually hate is like, tell me about how you started and, you banged on mom's pots and pans. I don't want to hear necessarily all that same stuff you'd hear at like the old school modern drummer interviews. But give us in a nutshell, backstory on you and how you ended up here.
Okay. in a nutshell, I'm a guy from Sweden, currently 24. I went to school, did the regular grow up thing in a small town in Sweden, just like 16,000 people in the town I live in right now. It's a beautiful little place. But so I went to school, and I always had music kind of as an interest on the side. I played saxophone. It was actually my first instrument. Started playing it around the age of 10. Played sax, and then like the last couple of years of school, I did like an engineering kind of, because in Sweden you can kind of specialize a little bit even before what would be your college, so to speak, or university. So I kind of already went into the engineering kind of thing a little bit, and then I just got really sick and tired of school, and I just felt like, no, music is what I want to pursue. And a few years prior, when I was 14, I picked up drums on my own, so I was taking saxophone lessons, but kind of, play drums on my free time. And then when it came to that turning point, when I was at my last year of school, I figured, no, I don't want to do the engineering thing. And drums was really pulling me in. So I decided just like, hey, what the hell? Let's just go for it. Yeah. So I stayed home in again, same city that I'm still living in. I stayed a couple of extra years, or a year or two extra, living with my parents, took a job in elderly care just to be able to kind of support myself, and just dove head in on social media and trying to basically make a name for myself as a drummer, because in a small city there's no music scene. We hardly even have a pub. Like, there's nothing. So social media was the obvious direction for me. So I just started posting videos on Instagram, Facebook. Never been much for YouTube. I liked more of the straight to the point, smaller kind of video formats. So Instagram really made sense. Started kind of quickly diving into teaching, because I always liked explaining things and teaching and trying to inspire people in whatever way I can. So I started doing these short little fill lessons. Originally it was called Lick of the Day, I think, like a really quick little 15 seconds, when Instagram was just 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. Started posting these little fill lessons, and then just kept doing that, trying to make better videos all the time. And that was 5 years ago, and now I have a combined online following of something like 230,000 people, I think, if you combine everything, all the social medias, which blows my mind, because I remember how ecstatic I was when I had 400 followers. Like, I can't believe it,
Yeah, sure.
Now, so it's blowing out of proportion, but it's been a great journey. I'm still on it very much. I'm still very much a baby in all of this. And I guess that's what brought me here, because I got to connect with Meinl back in 2016, the end of 2016, through Norbert, and got to know all of you guys, and then and now we're here.
Wow, super cool. Now you mentioned that it sounded almost like what you're doing is born out of necessity, and I never thought to ask you this before, because I know you're from a small town.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to me until just now. Let's say you lived in a big city, and there was a music scene there. Do you think you still would have taken to social media as a launching platform?
I'm honestly not so sure I would have. Perhaps eventually, seeing how social media has grown and what social media has and is turning into. But when I very first started doing the social media thing, so when what would have been a career launch in another city as well, that I was still playing with a band. I was really into metal at the time. That was kind of how I started playing drums. So probably I would have pursued a metal band kind of thing more. There's no way of telling what that would have taken me to, but I think, it's likely that I would have taken a more local path, so to speak, trying to build a band, play shows, that kind of stuff. I think it's very common for people when they're in bigger cities to kind of pursue that kind of thing. And it's because, like you said, it kind of lends itself to, if you're in a small city and there is no music scene, you want to pursue music, well, either you drive hours to every gig, or you figure something out through social media, or both. Yeah. But I think for sure it would have looked different. Absolutely. How different, I don't know. But I think the main difference actually would have been the fact that I couldn't have sustained myself on music as early as I was able to do that, because of how expensive and just how inconvenient in a lot of ways it can be to live in a bigger city. You have the benefits of the networking and the musicians around you in the scene, if there is one, but the fact that just a year and a half in on my journey, I was able to move to my own apartment and sustain myself very barely, on just drums. And just having 24 hours at your disposal so quickly from seeing how not so long ago I just started before that point. That has skyrocketed my growth for sure. The fact that I've had so much time on my hands because I didn't have to worry about having another job just to cover for rent and everything. So that would have been probably the biggest difference, I think, if I was in a bigger city.
Dude, it's so funny actually to talk about this because I snuck into one of the Sabian forums today, the symposium meetings that they were sponsoring here at the event, and so it was Andy Zildjian and it was Ray Luzier and Dom Famularo and Joe Bergamini moderating, and Joe had a bunch of questions that he was throwing at the other three guys, and people were probably 15 people in this room and me, and it's funny because I kept my rain jacket on over my shirt because I got my Meinl logo on there, and I wasn't trying to be sneaky or anything. I wasn't trying to steal trade secrets. They're not going to share trade secrets to the public, but I just didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable. So I tried to play it cool and sat in the back and listened. Yeah. And somebody asked, the question was basically, Joe set it up for Ray, because Ray moved from a small town, like a farm town, where he lived on like 120 acres of land. Oh, wow. His driveway was a mile from the main road. So he grew up isolated in nowhere, and he did that thing that so many of us, including myself, did in the late 80s into 90s, where you moved to Los Angeles. That was the thing. Yeah. And that way of thinking I don't think is unique to just the U.S. There's people all over that want to get out of their small confines and move. Yeah. So the question was basically, how do you establish yourself? And the general answer that Ray gave was, you got to put yourself in those places where everything's going on. And I totally get that. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But you just did the complete opposite. Pretty much. From what you wanted to do, you made it work by staying put in a place where overhead was crazy low, expense was low, and that which afforded you the time to work and sort of hyperspeed yourself. Yeah, exactly. It's so I totally dig it, but it's the complete opposite answer of what those guys gave. Yeah, which is the old school answer, and nobody was thinking about it in terms of like the new way of doing things, which is to optimize efficiency and. Now, granted, if you were going to try and get in on this cattle call of like trying out for gigs. You're not going to find that in a small town. For sure. There's a difference with that, and I usually get similar questions to this, and I usually put it like, it totally depends on what kind of career you're looking for. Right, what's the goal? Yeah, what's the goal? Because if I wanted to get into, for example, television and radio and more of that kind of stuff, I can't do that from where I am. I'd have to move to Stockholm. Yep. You know, and that was on my mind for sure. I debated, should I move, as everyone does at the end of, like when you're 18, 19, you kind of want to get out. But I figured, no, I think it's a safer, more probable route to success for me to just stay put and just grind away, chip away at it. And because first things first, you got to be good at what you're doing. And I had no idea what I was doing. So let's start there. Right. I felt like if I moved to Stockholm or whatever, it's like, I don't really know if I'd have anything to bring to the table to begin with. And all of a sudden I'd be stuck in a big city with crazy overheads and I don't really see anything coming from it. So I think people kind of rush into that. Yeah. There is absolutely a time and a place and a reason to move to a bigger city, to relocate somewhere else. Or if you're in a big city, to maybe relocate to a smaller city if you have different goals that might align better with that. At the end of the day, I think it comes down to having some kind of idea of what type of career you want to get into. My goals and where my direction changes a little bit all the time, but I've always had kind of a general idea that I'm not really the band guy. I'm not really looking to tour. I'm not really looking to do that thing exclusively anyway. Teaching and inspiring in some way and through social media, as soon as I started doing that, I realized, this in some way, shape, or form is what I want to do, and then it makes sense for me to stay put. So that leads me to a question I had for later, but I'll ask it now. Okay. So what is your current definition of success? Personal success for you. Personal success. I'll summarize it as, my life at the moment is more or less all about self-improvement in all the different facets of that.
Health has been a huge thing for me the last year and a half. I've really dived into that whole thing of actually giving a shit about my body and my mind, physically, mentally feeling better, because that's a solid foundation for everything else that comes on top later. So to answer the question, that I see success in my life through waking up and feeling like I accomplished something yesterday, or at the end of the day I accomplished something today. I'm a better person in some way now than I was yesterday, and being able to consistently do that in whatever field, whatever thing you're doing, that to me is success. It's personal success, and if you can then also translate that to something that benefits the people around you, then that's an even deeper level of success, I think. Mm-hmm. But for me, my entire life at the moment is just all about becoming a better human, in every way. Becoming a better drummer, for sure, but just figuring out how to live a better life, Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate, success goal, I think.
Dude, killer goal. So I did a podcast by phone the other day when I was at Meinl, Germany. I did this with Annika.
Yeah.
So I asked her this question, and it yielded an interesting answer, so I figured I'd ask you this question as well. What's the one thing that you think about and you think, man, if only one day I could do that. Like, if I could just get there, and it seems so far away, but, man, this would just be so great to get to that point. What's that one thing, maybe when you were... For some people, when they first walk into a music store, or someone takes them in there, or they see a drummer on TV, or they think, God, if I could only do that. And at the time, it's just playing a solid 2/4 rock beat. And then one day they get to that point. Yeah. Well, next, they're like, man, if I could only play Marco Miniman. And then one day, suddenly, they're playing Odd Times. But it doesn't have to be about drumming. Yeah. It could be anything, but maybe about drumming. What's that for you now?
I like that idea of pushing that threshold forward. Yeah. I see just as a little tangent, I see a similarity with that whole concept a lot in teaching and in learning, rather. And how to, for people asking stuff like, how can I become more creative behind the drums? How can I expand my horizons and because I think of it like that. When I started playing drums, I remember very vividly the first day I had my very first kit at home. I sat down, I tried to play some beats, and nothing came out. I had one groove that I could sort of play, and it's like your mind can't even imagine what more might exist. It's like you can't think of any other stuff because you don't realize what's in front of you. But then you get to that point, and it's like, okay, from here, this is my new threshold. I've pushed the threshold higher or forward, and now I'm there. So what's the next step of the ladder? And you're thinking, oh, that's impossible, or maybe you can't even comprehend it. And then one day you find yourself there, and now the threshold has moved further. That whole idea, I see that a lot in learning overall, just as a little tangent. But anyway, to answer that, I think I'm not even sure if I have a good answer, because I think I might be in that position now where I have my goals. I have the things that I'm working on. Currently, I just very recently launched a subscription service that is now my main focal point. I'm really focusing on that, which is the whole straight to the point teaching kind of thing, and taking that to a new level and really doing that on a daily basis for the subscribers of that. So that's on the agenda for me right now. So that's a thing that if I think of it like that, one day I would love for that to be huge, for that to be kind of sufficient, where I don't really need to do so much with it even. Now I'm doing everything. I'm editing all the videos, updating the website every day. There's a lot of work, like email support and all of that. So that's one a little bit more tangible goal, I guess, for me at the moment. It's I want to be able to do that, but maybe just the drumming part and all the other logistics of updating the website and email support and that kind of stuff, that would be someone else, or it will be automated in some way or whatever, So that's a more local, current goal in a sense. But I think that's the only kind of goal or similar things to that I have right now, because I think if there's more for me waiting for me in the future, I don't even know if I can comprehend that at the moment, because I'm just so busy with everything that's in front of me right now. I'm already overwhelmed with my everyday life, and everything that's going on. So it's hard to even imagine that there might be more in store. Yeah. If that makes sense.
It does.
So I don't know if I can properly answer that any other way.
No, I get it. I understand. For me, I know what you mean. I try not to sweat too hard.
Yeah.
about too far into the future.
Yes.
The only thing that I really like look out for in the universe that I really want to make sure that I see that I'm reading the road signs properly, so that I know which path to go down. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Because it'll never be clear cut unless you really have your eyes open.
Yeah.
But no, I totally dig that. You said something earlier that sparked a question I hadn't really thought of until now. You had mentioned that when you were first starting to play, you could do maybe one beat and then that's about all you had, and it's very hard to see what the next rung on the ladder was, what your options were as a drummer. Yeah. So I'm curious how you see... and you also, this is going to coincide with something else you said. You mentioned that you recently switched to a subscription service, and you had been doing the Fill of the Day.
Yeah.
So Fill of the Day was your vibe on Instagram.
Yeah.
How, and I assume that you haven't morphed into something completely like, it wasn't a complete 180. Maybe it's a logical progression.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does what you do work for drummers who can't figure out what that next rung on the ladder is?
Yeah.
How do you like to inspire people?
Yeah.
So explain to our listeners how what you do gives them helps them to see that next rung on the ladder.
Yeah. So first of all, yes, the subscription thing that I'm doing now, that for anyone curious, is called Daily Drum Bytes. Just literally the first name I could think of to try to describe it, because it's bite-sized lessons daily. It's like, daily drum bites. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like, you go to my website, sirosvaziri.com, and that's what you see straight away. That's what it is.
How much is it for a subscription?
It's $5 a month.
Wow.
So you get a bite-sized little video every day that has, like, now that I'm on the road, it might be like, maybe I'll have a pad and like do some small stuff if I hadn't have time to stock up on videos for a long travel. But aside from that, it's always the videos I film in my studio, proper audio and video and all of that, notation on the screen. You can download the videos, you can download the PDF notation.
Wow, for $5 a month.
There's a Q&A feature. And this is the seed of it. I started it like this. I wanted to be very accessible because I want to reach as many people as possible with this. I wanted to grow it into something big and really, from a business standpoint, kind of catch a monopoly on being kind of the straight to the point resource. Because there's so many great drummers and teachers, and not even just within music, that supply depth to topics and depth to whatever you're looking to learn. I don't think drumming, for example, needs another Mike Johnston or someone like that who has a lot of in-depth stuff, but rather I'm looking to fill the void that I wish was filled when I started playing, which is just show me the fill and give me the notation perhaps, and I'll try to figure it out on my own. Maybe I won't get the whole thing. Maybe I'll just learn a couple of notes from it, but that might inspire me to go play something else, and then half an hour later I'm playing a fill that's not even closely related to the video I saw, but it came from it. Right. So I look at it like that. But so for the Instagram stuff, I usually post one video a week from that as a kind of a video to market the service itself, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So I still do the straight to the point lessons on Instagram, and those have always been and are still my most viewed videos. Those are essentially what's gotten me here, to answer your previous question. But yeah, so the way I would say it is, my videos or that kind of thing serve as a little poke, saying that, hey, here's something that you maybe didn't think of. You might not be able to play it right now. Some of the fills or the grooves or whatever that's in this, again, it's not just fills either, it's everything, exercises and whatever. It might not be stuff that you're able to do right now, but it might open a little door for you that maybe you didn't even realize was there. For some people, that might be just a different subdivision. Let's say you're just starting out. You don't even know what subdivisions are. You're just playing along to your favorite songs. Or you're just playing kick, snare, hat grooves. That's all you got. And then comes along like a little triplet thing. You're like, what's that? I never even realized you could do that.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're not even, you might not be able to play it, but that might open a new door for you.
You're just trying to spark a mental opening.
Yes. So I think of this whole thing, not to make it like a plug, but the whole thing is just supposed to be inspiration. I don't necessarily expect people to play all the stuff that I'm playing in these videos. I don't even want people really to copy everything and just kind of try to squeeze in my fills into their gig. That's not what it's about. It's literally just like poke, here's something maybe you didn't think of, or here's something you might like. And when you get 7 videos a week, chances are hopefully at least 1 or 2 will spark some ideas, and that's gonna be plenty. So that's the idea. That's how I like to teach. It's like, here's something you might not have thought about. Maybe that will open some new doors for you.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. So now that you've switched to the subscription service, if you don't mind sharing, how well has it gone? How many people took the bait and came over?
Yeah, so far
you don't have to give hardcore numbers.
Okay, yeah.
Has it been successful?
It's been relatively successful. Yes, there for sure could always be more, but it could also been a way weaker response. So I think I had like a ballpark number that I was guessing the amount of people I was guessing would sign up within the 24 first hours, and the actual amount that signed up were within that kind of ballpark. So it's going sort of on the lower end, but still within it. So it's going kind of where I'm hoping. I know it's going to be a slow grind. But the thing is, I've done this so much, this kind of teaching, and the previous stuff that I sold on my website, which is still available, like the fill lesson packs that we've spoken about before. If people buy it, it's like 100 fills, you download, you get all of it at once. That kind of thing. I know that people like that. Not everyone, but people in general like to learn things fast. So if there's something they can learn and just go, you don't need someone's life story at the beginning of a YouTube video before the actual lesson. You just get to it, and I'll figure it out myself. And if I need more help, maybe I'll be in touch. That's the idea. So I know that people like this. I get so many heartwarming, amazing messages. People saying, "Hey, I'm 50. I've played drums for 30 years, but I had a break for 10 years, and I'm just coming back, and this is inspiring me. And I'm so great. I'm having a blast practicing these things, and stuff like that." And also a lot of people vouching for the whole idea, saying, "Dude, I love this. I wish more people did this. It's just the fill, and that's it." So I know from experience that this is. There is I wouldn't say necessarily a need, but there is a space. There's a space and a time for this kind of content. Looking at the drumming community as a whole, there could be more of this kind of thing. So that's the void I want to fill. Then it's just a matter of actually convincing people to pull out their wallet. And I actually had a similar conversation about this at a recent podcast, the Drum Yo Gab podcast. We talked about this thing in depth. So for anyone, not to plug another podcast, but for anyone wanting to hear me even more about this kind of topic, we spoke very in depth about why is it that people are so hesitant to pay for online stuff compared to, you're happy to go out on a bar and blow $50 on some drinks and a steak, but people are a lot more hesitant to pay even $5 a month for something that, in terms of relation to the money, it might be a lot more worth it. You see what I'm saying?
Totally.
So, but I think it comes down to also the fact, again, we talk more about this on that podcast, but the fact that there is so much available already for free.
Yeah.
An example I told was, if you want to work out, if you want a new workout, Google going on Instagram and search #workout, and you have a lifetime of shit that you're never even going to be able to get through. So why would you pay some online coach to give you more inspiration when there's already more than you can ever have time for? It's that kind of thing. So you need to really convince people that you have something that's either a shortcut and or provide something a little bit different and a little bit more consistent than what they might already find online for free. So it's a tricky road to navigate, but again, I trust and I know that people like the idea of it. So I just need to do a better job of getting it out there, I think.
I know this doesn't quite have to do, it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, but I was just thinking about why I might have paid for something online. And, I'm listening to what you're saying, but it occurred to me in a nanosecond that, say, for instance, back when I had Spotify, I paid for Spotify Premium simply because I didn't want the advertisements.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would have had all of the same content.
Yeah.
Or YouTube Premium. I pay for that now because I got sick of Spotify. My account got hijacked, and it was really tough to cancel my account. And that bothered me, how it was so tough to get to find how to do that.
Yeah.
But also because I didn't want the ads in YouTube.
Yeah.
And so the shortcut, the convenience thing. I think you were talking about. That's one reason why I've actually paid for a service before.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a random question, but I was curious about, I think I know the answer to this, but in the mediums that you work in, the social media channels, which one is just what's your favorite? Yeah. Which is the easiest?
For me, that's Instagram. for sure. It has been since day one. Funny enough, I remember being very, very reluctant to get an Instagram account. So we're talking like the day that I made my account, which I believe is actually October 12th. So this is my 5-year anniversary coming up. So, wow.
Nice. Congratulations.
Or it might be October 14th. I'll have to look it up. Either way, I remember I was kind of excited about Twitter, which I didn't have. I only had like a personal Facebook, you know. So, but I wanted to make these separate channels for my journey that I was about to start in 2014. So I remember making Twitter and all of these accounts, and I was really, really reluctant to get Instagram, because for me Instagram was essentially, I remember the way I thought about it at the time anyway, was this is the app for girls to go and post selfies and or food and or cats. You know, that's pretty much what it was, in which I was neither. That's not my vibe.
You're not a girl posing a selfie.
No, I like food.
Do you have a cat?
But no, I'm very much a dog person.
Okay.
I don't have one, but always wanted one. Cats are not my vibe.
Are you a cats-don't mix?
No.
Did you grow up with a cat?
No.
That might be kind
Never grew up with a pet at all.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you don't count fishes.
Those don't count.
No, don't count pets. Anyway, to answer your question, Instagram for sure. But it's just funny how reluctant I was, and when I kind of started using these social medias and doing what I do, I was like, Instagram is awesome. Twitter kind of sucks. It was not really what I wasn't really into the idea of Twitter, because that's not the type of content I wanted to do. I didn't really want to, throw out little jabs of thoughts and stuff around and have discussions like that. I wanted to post videos, or pictures. So Instagram drew me in because I just liked the layout of the app and everything, and I felt like I got a lot better engagement on Instagram, which is still true to this day. It's just, Instagram is great for reaching people with your content. You still have to provide good content. That's always priority. And I get questions like this all the time about, what hashtags should I use, and what do you think about the new algorithm, and what time of day should you post? And I'm like, dude, that is the last 10% at most of what you should be focusing on. 45% of your effort should be on your content, actually making good videos that fills a gap, perhaps, that people actually want to see, so you're sparking some kind of interest in the production and everything of that. The other 45% should be, how are you as a person? Are you enjoyable? Like, do people want to see you and interact with you? Do you reply to messages? Do you do the social part of social media? And are you a professional? Everything's tied together and neatly organized and everything looks good. That's like the other 45%. And then the last 10% is, now if you have good content and all of that, now you can kind of focus on, getting the right hashtags and spreading the word. Because I look at it like that. If all those other 90%, so if you're an asshole and your videos suck, you're only doing yourself a disfavor by being really good at manipulating the algorithm or whatever, because you're promoting your shit to more people, which is not doing you any good.
Just do all the hard work and everything else will generally follow.
Yes, exactly. But that's not what we're talking about, but I just wanted to mention. Instagram I've always liked. It just goes in line with what I like to do, the whole straight to the point short videos, like more on a regular basis. Whereas if someone's listening and they really like to do bigger projects, like longer videos, every now and then, like really dive into something, then YouTube for sure is the place for that. And Facebook for me has always been kind of an in-between, where Facebook is a little weird in that sense, where you can do really well on short daily videos, but you can also do really well on longer, more occasional videos. Mm-hmm. And Facebook has that kind of viral power to it that you don't really get in the same way on Instagram. Instagram is a lot more like almost 24-hour based. Like, you'll post a video, it can rack up views for weeks, but most of the growth and most of the exposure happens within the 24 hours. This is generally how it is, but it will kind of slow down to a degree that Facebook doesn't. I have a video, actually my most viewed video of all time was a recent video, the video that I said, now my subscription service is available. It was one of those kind of chest cam GoPro fill lesson, straight to the point kind of thing. And that video is still racking up views since about a month ago. It's well over 1.2 million views on Facebook, which is 4 or 5 times I think the most viewed video I had up until that was about like 280,000 a video on Instagram that got up to that. And this video on Facebook just blew everything out of the water, because the sharing system on Facebook, you share something, now all your friends see it, 2 of them share it, and the roots just keep spreading, and it goes on for months on end. That power is more more inherent to Facebook, whereas Instagram is more, I feel like Instagram is a lot more reliable on a day-to-day basis. If you can consistently provide good content, Instagram is the way to go. If you like to do videos every now and then, focus perhaps more on YouTube. It's a bit of a different vibe, a different community. And if you're doing a little bit of everything, you might want to keep that to Facebook as well. I'd recommend using Facebook as a kind of a hub for everything anyway. But if you're looking at it as a spectrum, I would say Instagram is on one side, YouTube is at the other, and Facebook is kind of the middle ground. So you want to be on all three in some way, but definitely focus more on one. For me, that's always been Instagram.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this while you were just talking. I heard a very, so just as a reminder to everybody listening, we're here at the UK Drum Show. We're in Manchester. There's some world famous drummers here, young and old. I heard a very established drummer today. This was, I won't say who, I won't say where I was. I was somewhere, and I heard in passing a very established, famous drummer turn to another drummer and say, "How do you post on Instagram?"
Yeah.
And I thought, holy shit. Now, on one hand...
2019 people.
Hey, dude, on one hand, the guy's established.
Yeah.
Does he really have to worry about posting it? No, he doesn't. But this led me to think about a question that I had thought of for you. We're in interesting times. We have been for a while.
Yes.
There's this weird changing of the guard happening, and not just because of things that are happening with media, but simply because of age and time. So forever there's been drummers such as... the guys that go by one name, like Vinny or Gab or Weckl, and all these guys, and then there's there's newer drummers. There's a lot of guys that are coming up. There's the new legends of today, which are guys like Benny Greb and Mark Juliana and JoJo. And so these guys are like the new legends. Yeah. Then you got even younger guys, all these guys in between. So with this changing of the guard, you've got the old guys that have, for the most part, basically zero clue about the legitimacy of the type of work you do. And then you've got your peers that you've, guys that you've come up with or you've just rubbed elbows with along the way, dudes you've met, the guys that get what you do. Yeah. And they get it. Then there's the guys that are in between who are young enough to recognize what you do, and they see that it has... They see that it's provided you a level of exposure that maybe they wonder how did he get that exposure, and they know that what you're doing is something they probably should be involved in. And some of these guys, embarrassingly enough, actually will go out and get somebody to do it for them, kind of, and which you can tell all day because it is like when you have someone else post for you, it's not your voice, it's obvious, you know.
Not a good idea.
Right. So maybe they're just too old or hesitant or complacent to really jump in and try. But I'm curious, man, because you have ended up more and more at things like this event and being around. Do you pick up vibes from people? Do you ever, regardless of what kind of a force field of positivity you might try and keep around yourself, or just maybe not caring what the hell other people think, do you ever pick up on any of this sort of guys sort of scratching their head, like wondering, like, who's he? What's he doing here? Yeah,
I definitely pick up on that. I try not to think about it, and I'm not bothered by it, I wouldn't say.
Do you sort of recognize it at face value for what, like the way I just explained it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to name drop or anything like that, but yeah, there have been occasions for sure at previous times when I've done different kinds of events, you know, where it's like, I feel like when you know, we're talking to someone like, so hey, who are you? What do you do? And like, tell me about yourself, and I'll kind of pull my little story and what I'm doing with Instagram and everything, and they're like, yeah, cool, you know, like that. Where it's like they see you, but they don't. They're like, you know. So I'm still, and I'll admit, I'm still, like I said, I'm just a baby, dude. I'm figuring this whole life thing out on my own at the moment. So I'm not too worried about what people think or what they think in terms of like, am I doing something right here, or am I just some kid who doesn't have a clue or whatever. I'm like, let me figure out what I'm doing, and I guess time will tell, you know, if I'm on the right path or if this has any legitimacy. But in terms of like older guys looking down and going like, social media, what's that, you know, I'll just put it like this. I wouldn't, like we talked about, I wouldn't be here today, like in this hotel room doing this, and having all these great friends and people around and traveling the world doing what I love within a 5-year span of starting it, if it wasn't for social media. So that, I think that speaks for the legitimacy of it, and I don't really need to convince anyone no. that just like scoffs at me. Like, I don't, it's like that's them missing out. I don't need to convince anyone. I'll just let my actions and my life speak for itself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Did you see Benny's concert in Quinnipiac last night?
I didn't, unfortunately.
Okay, so last night, Benny Greb, everybody. I was just kind of disparaging the one-name drummers out there. And here I am referring to him as Benny, but it's because we know him.
Yeah.
So Benny Greb was giving his... He did like a talk last night, and then he did a concert with his band Moving Parts. But during the talk, the very last point he brought up was about respecting yourself, treating yourself as you should,
Super
as you
important.
treat others.
Yes.
And then he also mentioned respecting other drummers. And he brought up Lars Ulrich as this great example of it.
Oh yeah.
And he said, you know what, he did something really well. He kept his band going when nobody else would have had the tenacity, the fortitude, the guts to really go. And so his point at the end was there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of unfortunate that you do pick up. I was hoping that you would surprise me and tell me like, no, dude, I've never picked up one of those vibes.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a lot, but for sure, I just based on your question, I recognize that like there have probably been some times.
And you know what, it doesn't completely surprise me. I wished you had surprised me and be like, nope, never.
Yeah.
But there are those that just, I guess, kind of refuse to learn from others.
Yeah.
And so it happens. But yeah, Benny's point was you could always learn something. So maybe those guys should have heard Benny's talk.
They probably should. I think everyone, no matter who you are, can benefit from hearing Benny talk.
Yeah, absolutely. But so a completely different thought that occurred to me was I was driving in my car. It was like a Saturday night or a Sunday night. I was running an errand.
Yeah.
And Art Cruz calls
Great
me.
guy.
Right. So Art Cruz, longtime Meinl cymbal artist, came on board when he was in Winds of Plague. He's been in Prong forever, and now he just got the Lamb of God gig.
Yeah.
He called me, and he was on tour at the time with Lamb of God, and he was over in Spain or something. And I'm thinking, why is he calling me from Europe on a Saturday night at my time when it's like the middle of the night, early morning his time? Something's wrong.
Yeah.
So I answered the phone, and he just wanted to talk and chat, and that's Art because he's so sweet and kind, and which is great. He always makes me laugh, and we talked for a while. He told me he was really nervous. He goes, dude, do you know this guy named Siros? And I said, yeah. And he goes, man, he reached out, and like he's like this awesome drummer with this incredible online presence, and he told me he was a big fan, and that he wanted wanted to hang out, and this is you, right?
Yeah. I mean, me and Art.
He was really nervous. He was like,
it's crazy.
Like, what do I do? And
I can't believe that.
And I said, what do you mean? What do you do? And he goes, well, the guy seems totally cool. Like, I'm looking forward to our hang, but I'm kind of nervous because, like, dude, he had a lot of respect for you, which was the neat thing. He was like, yeah, he's done, like, all this stuff that I don't know how to do. He goes, I'm just, like, this meathead drummer out here on tour right now. And he goes...
just playing for Lamb of God.
Dude,
like, casually brushing that off.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, give yourself a break, man. Just hang on. I said... I said, as much as you are kind of, like, scratching your head going, whoa... Siros reached out to you because he's a fan, and he's probably like, "Wow, man, Art Cruz is going to hang out with me."
I was gonna say that's my experience of it because I mean.
So tell us, like, what was your?
Well, first of all, that's incredible to hear that he called you like in the middle of the night, like. Dude, I'm nervous. I can't believe that.
Yeah, no, he was pumped too. But like, how was your meeting? Like, how did it go?
Yeah,
like you guys got together.
Yeah. So basically, what happened? Again, I live in Sweden, and he had a gig. This was December last year. He had a gig in Stockholm, and I was just about to come home from like a little Europe trip doing some clinics and stuff. So I was going to basically be in Stockholm. I was able to be in Stockholm at that time. So I've been a long time Lamb of God fan. I don't listen to metal too much anymore, but when I came up drumming, when I started drumming, age 14, Lamb of God, Chris Adler, the original drummer, was like a god to me. You know, he was the man, the absolute best drummer I could ever think of was Chris Adler. So I've been listening, you know, a lot to Lamb of God over the years. So I remember seeing videos of Art Cruz, like, you know, back in the day. I used to go around YouTube, just watch whatever drum video I could get my hands on, just to kind of see what's out there. And I remember seeing some videos with him doing kind of Winds of Plague playthroughs. I think there was like did you do a Meinl thing with him on that? Was that a Meinl produced video?
No, we did some Winds of Plague stuff from Van's Warped Tour when we had like really shitty flip cameras, and so the audio was like, you know, but you could see Art like whipping his head around looking cool.
Yeah.
But it sounded literally like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing some more produced videos with him as well.
We didn't do that.
Yeah. No, I think that was Trick, probably the pedals or whatever pedals he was with at the time or whatever. I think it was some kind of company under some company's flag. Either way, I remember having seen him before, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy's playing with Lamb of God. Holy shit, that's cool. I think I was following him on Instagram. And then I saw, hey, they're coming to Stockholm. I'm gonna be there around that time. Let me go catch him. So I messaged him saying like, hey, dude. I think actually we'd had our initial contact already through just kind of, you know, the way that Instagram and social media goes, where it's like, maybe he drops a comment on one of my videos, like going like, that's cool, like a little fire emoji or something, you know, just the small exchanges you have. Or I might have done that on his video at some point, so we kind of, you know, peripherally kind of see each other. And then at some point we had like a short conversation, maybe in a comment thread or something. And then so it was kind of like we'd already broken the ice a little bit, I guess, through that kind of conversation, if you want to call it that. So I messaged him going something along the lines of, hey, you're coming to Stockholm, you know, that's awesome. I live here in Sweden. I'm definitely going to come see you. Or, I can't even remember what I said. But yeah, anyway, to answer your question, it went great. He came and played the show. He got me backstage pass, and I got to actually stand right behind his shoulder and watch him do the entire set.
Yeah, cool.
Which was super cool. Because, yeah, this is a band that I grew up loving. This was the band. And it's essentially... Dude. You're playing the same songs that I've dissected note for note when I was coming up drumming. I was like, oh, I wonder how Chris plays this and that. And now Art's playing this stuff like literally a meter in front of me, and I'm standing over his long, sweaty hair, like in the back, just seeing him kill it.
So you were in fanboy mode?
Yeah, dude, I was deep in fanboy mode. It was really cool. It's just such a great guy. We just hung out, you know, talked for a bit, and like a little bit afterwards, a little bit before. And yeah, it was really, really cool. Dude. Such a great meeting.
Did he do any magic tricks for you?
Not at that time, but I heard I'd heard that he's good at magic.
He's insanely great at magic.
When I was at NAMM this year, so again like 2 months later, I made a point to ask him to show me a magic trick. And he blew my mind.
Did he do the little X with the Sharpie on his hand?
No, I don't think so. No, it was something with a coin, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, he made the coin go up.
Yeah.
Ask him next time to do the X on the Sharpie.
Okay,
on his hand.
I will.
He literally can do this thing where he'll draw an X with a Sharpie on his hand, kind of like in between his pointer finger and thumb.
Yeah.
On the outside, and then he does this whole thing, and suddenly the X on the Sharpie on his hand is not there anymore, and it's on your hand.
Wow.
It's insane. Yeah, wow. He's really good.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, he's an even better human and better drummer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
And that's what kind of to draw back to what I was saying before. That stuff is so important. Like you can, to anyone looking to do the whole social media thing and all of that, don't forget about the social part. Like don't forget about actually being a person. I had a bunch of people today at the Meinl signing that we did just right before this. I had at least one or two guys swing by and say something along the lines of, I love seeing that you're a human, you know, on social media. With the videos, I like to do that every now and then. Share a video of me messing up. Like I'll film my practice, you know, and share a little clip where I'm struggling with something. And usually it's more in my stories, but every now and then I'll do an actual post about it. And kind of words of encouragement. And it's very, very cool to see that do the full swing and come back at me where people are saying like, dude, I love that. You're a human.
So the people today that said, I love seeing that you're a human, did they mean they love the human aspect that you interject online, or did they love physically seeing you in the flesh?
It might be both, but no, more the online person. Actually being, like, 'cause it's one thing to... social media in general is just a highlight reel. Everyone wants to show their lives from the most perfect angle when it might not even be that way. So it's really a fresh breath of air when you come in and say, hey, my life is shit sometimes. I know yours is too. Let's have a look at that together and let's figure it out.
Yeah. So I've got 2 more questions for you before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
My first question is, you had mentioned that like you sort of fast-tracked things, and within a year and a half from when you had decided to do what you're doing, you were making just enough so that you could do
just
it 24/7.
Yeah.
That you didn't have to do a straight job. You could do this.
Yeah.
That led me to think that maybe there might be a certain level of, people say, man, you got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
You just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Grind forward. Well, sometimes that push requires calling on others, like to join in with your crusade for yourself.
Yes.
And that's just the way life works. We all sort of lift each other up. And I say this from, in my job in artist relations, you get called upon for assistance from people all the time. That's like what people do. They want to work with Meinl, but that requires a commitment on Meinl's part, and you're not always sure if that person is going to commit to their end of things.
Yeah.
Now, with you, there's no question. I mean, dude, you're part of the team, you're part of the family, you do your part, we do our part, we all work together. Hopefully you feel it's like really good symbiosis. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel so incredibly well taken care of. And I actually had that thought like yesterday. I was like, am I doing my part? I feel so well taken care of.
That means you are. Like if you have to wonder, if you do wonder, that probably means you are, because you consider those things. There's some people that don't. But my point is has I've not experienced this. I don't think Norbert has either, but has there ever been a time where you thought, maybe I'm pushing a little too hard right now. Like maybe I need to back off a little bit. And I only ask this because like you fast tracked it so much. I think generally my assessment is I think you've done it pretty much all on your own. And you've done it where you do it efficiently and lean, you don't need other people so much. But has there ever been times where, like, as you're learning this game within the drumming industry, that you've maybe had someone kind of give you a little smack in the backside and been like, back off, son. Like, we'll get to you when we get to you.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I have like a specific moment I can draw back to and talk about, but I recognize that feeling. So I'm sure I've had little thoughts along those lines along the road, but again, no specific kind of moment I can point to. But I recognize what you're saying. So I mean, and again, this is just, that's part of life in general. Like you're trying to learn how to
learn your boundaries.
Learn your boundaries, learn where you are, learn what respect is and how that goes both ways. And just sometimes you're in a position to ask, and sometimes you're not. And it's just it's a life thing more than anything else. But for sure, I've seen that. I recognize what you're saying with that.
Yeah, but I know that's kind of an oddball question.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's a valid question because it is a truth in how things go, and how in not just in drumming. Again, if you're looking to do the whole drumming thing and endorsements and all of that, there's going to be a lot of that. You're going to have to consider all the time, like, are you really in a position to? People might, I'm sure you get that all the time. People going like, "Hey, give me free shit." The whole what people oftentimes think endorsements is just companies throwing gear at you, and it's just not how it works. It's a mutual agreement. It's a mutual business relationship. So within that, I mean, there's probably going to be times where those kind of people, if one of those, you don't really sign people like that, but there's going to be, for anyone that gets an endorsement deal or jumps on with a company or something, of course you're going to be eager to use that to your advantage. I remember when I signed with Meinl, I was like, I can't wait to pick out some cymbals, man. It's just going to be great, But it's like, I didn't send Norbert an email the day after going like, hey, so when are we doing the cymbal thing? I was like, that was several months after my endorsement that I flew over and picked out my first proper set of endorsement cymbals, so to speak. So I kind of already then I was like, I can't even believe I'm getting the endorsement in the first place, so I'm not gonna ask. I'm just gonna I'll do my thing, I'll promote the hell out of Meinl, and just spread the love, and I know it's going to come back my way at some point. There's no point in pushing, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, you always hear the cliche that it never hurts to ask.
Yeah,
and that's true. But I mean, dude, if you just keep asking and asking, it's like it can hurt. But
it's a balance.
Yeah,
I want to tie that real quick to the social media side of things as well, because that's I know Mike Johnston, I believe, talks about this a lot with he puts it kind of as social media credit and debt, with how you can't just ask for stuff all the time. You can't ask people to just, come to my show, follow me here, subscribe, comment, share with your friends and family. It's like, no, why would anyone do that if you haven't given them a good reason to, or if you haven't earned their trust or given them some kind of values? You have to go into with the attitude of giving tenfold more than you're asking. And I think a lot of time that's a good rule of thumb for life in general, especially with this kind of stuff when it's business relationships and that too. It's like, you can't just go in and ask for stuff, because no one owes you anything. The universe doesn't owe you shit. You need to put out more than you're using up, so to speak.
Yeah, no, dude, I totally agree. Okay, so my last question for you, and it's kind of your garden variety. It's basically the only garden variety question I had for this, but that is, what is next for you? And please, and do this. Here's also your opportunity for shameless self-promotion.
Yeah.
So it's either what's next, and if you're like, dude, I don't know, I make this shit up as I go.
Yeah.
I totally get that, because I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Or you can just tell everybody where they can find you online and can subscribe, where they can download and purchase. And I mean, please, we're here to...
I will say, dude, I don't know, because I'm just making this shit up as I go. Because that is in terms of long term, that is my answer. Like, I have no clue where I'm going to be in 5 or 10 years, and I don't even care, to be honest, because I'm just the day-to-day life. Again, what I'm all about at the moment is just self-improvement and becoming better at the things that I do, and living a better life.
Working off instinct and inspiration.
Yes, exactly. Taking it as it comes. Yep. But for the shameless self-plugs and all of that, yes, the subscription thing, again, Daily Drum Bytes, that is my focal point.
What's the website called?
SirosVaziri.com.
Spell it for everybody.
Siros. That's my first name. And then Vaziri is V-A... Do you say Z or Z? I can never remember in the US. For that last letter of the alphabet.
Is it a Z?
I get.
I'm sorry, Z.
You say Z, right? The last letter. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So Siros, Vaziri, Vaziri. SirosVaziri.com. Okay. Yes. Very simple, or not really. But if you can spell my name, it's super simple. If you can't, you're out of luck. You go on there, that's the first thing you see is like sign up. $5 a month, you get a video like that every day. And again, this is now, I've just released it very recently, less than a month ago. I just added a Q&A feature to it as well, so I'll be continuing to add stuff to it. There will be different levels of membership and stuff along the road, but the basic principle is still, you pay $5 a month, you're going to get daily bite-sized lessons produced well, video on notation on the screen. You can download the videos, you can download notation, learn offline, build your own kind of library of stuff to go through. So the longer you're on the train, the more you're gonna rack up, your own kind of library of chops and fills and grooves and whatever to just inspire you. Some are hard, some are super simple, some are somewhere in between. I try to vary it up so there's something for everyone. That is my focus point for the time being and for a foreseeable future, because that is what I want to turn my career into. I essentially want that to be my bread and butter.
Yeah, sure.
So there's that.
Instagram, where can people find you on there?
At Siros Vaziri. So again, if you can spell my name, good for you. If not, I guess you'll have to just try. SirosVaziri.
Dude, there you have it. Man, Siros, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
This was super cool. And so then, like, from here, you can go chill out, and then in about 2 hours, we're going to go have some Meinl dinner together.
I can't wait. Dude, I'm starving.
Dude, I'm hungry too. Awesome. Thanks, Siros.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Meinl Radio. If you liked this episode, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. We would appreciate it very much. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.